Hi, welcome back. This is Lokesh. Welcome to this session. So, you would have got my mail on Gmail about downloading the data files, and I would like to go to the slide which we were at earlier. We were doing this activity. Yeah, this activity we had just now completed. So now we have done till 3 activities, of 2 of hello and 1 of hi. And I was wondering if anybody was able to do this activity, or in fact Maven based app Hello World or this Hi Peter app activity. Was anybody able to do it? I think there's people are still missing and they're just coming in. Wow, I can see a URL and I'm excited to see. I think this is Manpreet Kaur or something. CP it says, but I think it's Maninder. I think it is Maninder, right? I think this is Maninder. Right, Maninder? Maninder has managed to do this. Excellent. This is CP Center is really doing good things. I am so excited. Wow. Okay. Well, while others are still stuck with Hello World, Maninder has reached the third activity as well. So I mean, it's not that it cannot be done then. I mean, I'm so happy that we are progressing. Little by little, slowly, but we are progressing. Okay, any other success story? Anything which was not working and has started working? Anything? Anybody has got a success story to tell from yesterday till now? Of the 3 activities we did, you have the steps with you. Were you able to do any of it? Yep. I have got responses as 10% no, meaning people have said no, they have not been able to do it. They are stuck somewhere or the other. Now, the instructions being the same to everybody, there is something which is missing, some missing link, which you yourself have to figure out. I'm trying to show you whatever debugging skills I know of, but given the constraints, you need to debug the things. So, very good. So I think there are around 10 people who have come back after break. Rest are still missing. Total, I think there are 17. So, but hopefully everybody got some mail from me from Google account to Google account. So I was wondering, are you getting these chat messages? Hello. Are you getting these chat messages? Very good. So at least we are able to start a communication on Google at least. So using Gmail or chat or even Adobe Connect. But for Adobe Connect, not many people were there yesterday, and today also I see only 2-3 people were present. What happened? I don't know. See, the idea is to share how you are able to do it. So I would, I could not find the debugging details on lab guide. Can you please tell me? Okay. Yesterday also I told you at the last of the lab guide, in the appendix, you can say, there are few debugging skills tips. Plus there are notes given wherever there can be issues. Like there was a note today on if your Java version has an issue, your Eclipse has a problem in locating Java. It says you are using JRE instead of JDK. So there are steps mentioned you need to perform to change the path to be able to work with Java. So that those details are there in between the steps in as form of notes, and also as part of appendix in the lab guide. Whatever errors we had encountered, we have put in. Some of them are pretty unique to NIT. That's what you are facing right now in your center. Probably it's to do with some kind of your message, your local system. So okay. So we were trying to reach at this high Peter kind of an example, and there are people who are saying they are not able to do it. So that's why what I mentioned when I was talking about engine, to be able to do this, you will really have to get your hands dirty with a lot of things. Probably have two computers and try different combinations, or with the same computer try it multiple times to do it with different settings. If you're not able to get it, clean out anything which is not required. Some system settings issues are there, and you will be able to connect. See, yesterday I came here, I didn't have anything configured on this computer which I'm using for demonstrating to you. I installed Java, Eclipse, and I'm now able to communicate with Google App Engine. So same thing with you. Given everything is properly configured, with Eclipse plugin installed, you should be able to connect. And the same thing applies to the the same thing applies to the people who are doing it and getting stuck in getting strange errors. There is something wrong in your system. System configuration, something is wrong. Either fix it or find an alternative solution. Because I really wish we could get over the first hump. It's kind of first roadblock, which is to be able to say hello world. Once that is overcome, then the cycle will start. Like you will know, here you click, and this is the output you're going to get. So the first hump which your target is to be able to reach to hello world both ways, using Maven as well as using web application. And I'm happy to know one person at least in this group is able to do in CP Center. So given other people, anybody else who has been able to reach to this level of reaching this high Peter kind of a situation? Anybody else? No, still struggling? You're still struggling with the engine. So good. I can understand. That's a part of struggle. You need to struggle to achieve something. So this is your test to learn something new, something which is latest technology in cloud computing. And okay, this is off the thing. Now that you know a little bit of Google App Engine, Can you just post your responses where it can be used in your thought process? Where can this Google App Engine be useful, if at all? Just think and post your messages. What is the use of Google App Engine? we are talking on we are day 2. Little bit of Google App Engine you have studied. So what is the purpose of using Google App Engine? My recap question to you. Why would I want to use Google App Engine? Why is Google App Engine important to study, or should we really be studying it? I mean, you already know Java, then why study Google App Engine? Yeah, one message I've got is without server we can run application, but actually it should be we cannot run application. Without server we can run application. Without server we can run application. Without server we cannot run application. But actually there are still servers apart from Google also, where people are individually hosting their sites. So what is so important about Google App Engine that we should be learning about it? I mean, it's just another server, right? Why is it important that we should study Google App Engine? Think about it. Think, why is it important to know about a Google App Engine? Because yesterday, first half, I was just mentioning what is Google. So somebody say easy to build, easy to maintain. I don't think it's easy to build an application till now in my batch. Over here, I have not had much of success percentage-wise. Some of you have managed to do it. And I think CP is doing really right answers. CP has given me the right answers. High seed server, no downtime. Secure since it's cloud computing is Jayanagar. Okay. Yeah, okay. You told me too many things. Okay, good. Yesterday's recap. Run app on Google infrastructure, right? Software as a service. We can put our data on cloud. Great. So at least fundamentals are clear with everybody. Very good. So some people have said that. Great. Good. Okay, Java. See, till now your work on Java was limited to your own self. You can actually showcase your work to the world by hosting it over here, and scalability is very good answer. What we are doing is we are putting an engine. We are studying about an engine which can host, or you can be used to support millions of users, as I would say. So if your application idea is so powerful, so nice, so beautiful, a lot of people want to use it. Once you make it on Google App Engine, you don't have to worry about scaling it up. That means tomorrow if more people want to use it, you can use it. So that is a very beautiful aspect of it. Plus it's also about cloud computing and things like buzzwords which you know about, and latest technologies anyways you want to learn. So thank you, CP. Okay, so now I have got around 14-15 participants online. So coming back to this exercise, I think only CP. How many? Can you just tell me again? CP I know was able to reach to this level. Anybody has been able to do Hello World? How many of you have been able to do once again? Hello World, either Maven or web based. How many of you have been able to do it? Hello World. Sorry. Sorry. So can you just do this again? Just send me a message that you have been able to do the Hello World kind of an application yesterday, which we saw. Very simple steps are there if your configuration is right and you have enough patience to see it download things. And then today in the morning we made a API. Okay, I will continue with it in a minute. The API thing. Yeah, very good. So Anna Nagar and Rajouri and CP. Great thing. Free. Rajouri Garden, 2 people have done. Jyoti and Anjali both have done. Very good. Shravnan in NS32 has done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 15. Still, a lot of people have not done. 5 out of 15. 10 people have not got. So, okay. 5 out of 15 have managed to do it. Great. Okay. So if 5 can do, I'm sure other can also do. Come on, NITians, don't let me down. It's a very interesting technology to learn. But if you are not able to understand and implement it, we'll not be studying about it in detail. We'll still struggle. So get the basics right. Basics. Today I would want whatever time it takes. Take a laptop or something from friends. Borrow it. And at least spend some night trying to upload Hello World application onto cloud. That will be your test today. I'm sure you can do it. And if you are able to do it, I'm sure India can do it. See, it's very good. Boriville is trying on laptop now, sir. Excellent. See, what happens is in NIT centers, a lot of applications are installed and people come in, they change around configuration. So yesterday's configuration may not be there today. Keeps on changing. But here, for at least this week, I want a stable configuration. I want you to get maximum of your resources, internet bandwidth, to learn something which is very nice to learn. If you can get a dedicated system which is not affected by the configuration changes which happen in, batch out, that will be the best situation, because that system will not get disturbed with different software configuration and changes. So okay, so tomorrow I'm trying to have a kind of an extended session. Is that okay till like 5 or so? Today we had a break, and again I think till 3:30 only I have studio time. Then some other batches to come in over here. 1:30, 2:30, 3:30. So till 3:30 we are on air. So can we have a small poll? Tomorrow I'm just going to say again, poll for tomorrow till 5:30, whatever time I have the studio. I'll try to extend it. I'm trying to extend tomorrow till 5. 3:30 is the time. I'm trying to extend it till 5:30. So tomorrow till 5 instead of till 3:30 we'll be on air. Only 18% agree. Rest are disagreeing. No, 30% are agreeing. Great. So okay, great. Thank you for your cooperation. I really do wish, so by today evening to tonight, till whatever we have covered, try to reach to that level, so that tomorrow we go deep into it. And I don't have to worry about your basic configuration issues, that the setup which is there in your systems has issues. So CP, I've got two people one, and Rajorigan, two people, NH, one person was there, and I forgot one more was there. Five, I think, were there. They have done pretty good job till now. But I know that there are people who are in other cities, Bangalore, Hyderabad. There were people from Calcutta also, I remember. Whatever happened to other cities? See, here I'm talking about all over India, people learning Google technology and benefiting from it. But I can only see Delhi and Chennai doing well. Maybe some others, one more. What about the rest? You guys really should think about this opportunity. See, I will keep on probably going ahead. It's very easy for me. But if till the time I'm not happy till the time you guys are settled with the basic infrastructure. So today is the day, because I only have till 3:30. After that I'll take around 1 or 2 hour break, and I'll be online after 6. Okay, 6 to 8 maybe. In case you guys hang out till then we will probably talk about it through Adobe Connect or through a chat or mail. But since I am remote, very far off from you guys, and your situations are unique to you, you need to figure out ways and means to be able to implement this. And once you are able to do it, one application is all it takes to get started. Once that is done, then the remaining will follow. So let me continue from where I had stopped. Yes, in the morning. So I have people coming back now, and this is the output we had stopped at. And okay, so it says over here, next activity is, after adding this simple activity, you have been asked to add a new endpoint function in an existing API, so that using the API method one can greet people according to the time period, morning, afternoon, evening or night of the day. Okay, so it's talking about the new endpoint function name greeting by period should contain 2 parameters, name and time of day. So we are doing one more activity now. This is activity number 4, which is numbered 4.2, I think. Okay, and we will want to get this kind of an output now. Slight modification to the previous morning application. Till that time we had done hello, hi, and now we have to good morning. Okay, so if somebody was to ask me Java based application just to say hello and good morning, but then this is cloud computing Java on Google App Engine. So web page should display a greeting message as shown in the following figure while testing and running the backend API on the local development server or Google App Engine. So just show of hands, shall we continue with the next part? It's okay? We'll continue with this activity now. Yes, plus? Okay, somebody has some questions? Okay. Great. So let me just switch to my laptop. Where is my laptop? This was the morning thing. Okay, so this is morning. I'll just close it. Close this. So somebody's typing. Okay, great. So somebody's chatting over here also. So this is also interesting. Let me pop this out and keep it on the side. You can also type in whatever you want if you feel like typing. But I'll just minimize this little. Okay, yeah, my name is Lokesh. You can say Lokesh. Hi, Lokesh also. In NIT, I was told not to call sir and all. But anyways, okay. So in the last part, what I did was I'd deleted that. This is shoe. I had deleted. There you go. We have deployed third application. No, not on this one. Hello, yeah. Oh, okay. I think this is the ID which we had taken and applied to this, and then I had deployed this. Remember, in the morning we had created this MyBean and first application and applied this. Okay. So now what we are doing is we are going ahead to the next activity, adding a new endpoint function to an existing backend API. So this is the activity which we are doing. So first we need to edit our existing Java classes, run the test API on the local development server, and deploy an app engine. So I open my Eclipse. I have this. And open my bean Java and add the following code to the mybean.class. Now this is a two parameter constructor. Public my string name string time Okay, so I've added a two parameter constructor to this bean class. In the preceding code, two new constructors are included in the mybean class. Two new constructors. One constructor with two parameters. Save this file. Open your first API.java. So now I need to add this another API called greet by period before this last bracket. Okay, here this constructor is also missing, I think. Let me just open my solution. Activity 2, task files. This is done. This was already there. Now, this is the API method which I should add. Actually, I will replace this complete API because I'm having some doubt on this. Why is this string red? String. Okay, yeah, there has to be this constructor which has to be there. Okay, so I've added as per the step required. What we are doing is my bean response, new my bean name and time of day, and it returns response. So there is a constructor, but this is a 0 parameter constructor. This has to be a 1 parameter constructor also. Just give me a minute, I'll just explain what I'm doing. Just 1 minute. Okay, see over here, there has to be a public my bean which is missing. A constructor has to be there with 0 parameters, because that is what is being called over here, and that's why there was a red line which was coming over here. There was a red asterisk which was coming over here because I'm calling my bean response new bean without any parameters, but there was no corresponding function over here. So now I've added it, and I've also added 2 strings it is taking, name and time of day, and in here there are 2 parameter constructor. Everybody understand the constructor, right? So that was the issue with the code. So that I have done, but I think okay, so now I've done it, so now let's see what has to be done. So I've added 2 parameter constructor which is giving a response. Save this file and then let's compile and upload. Let's see what happens. Okay, like run Maven build local. Okay, so now I'm just expanding on that earlier file, but the problem was something else now. Okay. The solution file which I have got has got 1.18 as API SDK. So it's now trying to download a 1.18 files. Now what I would want you to do is, before you run this, go to pom.xml, edit it, go to open with text editor, find 1.9.18 and replace it with 1.9.31. Say replace all. So it says 5 replacements. This is one step which I would want you to do, is to upgrade the API from 1.9.18 to 1.9.31, so that when you build this application, I've stopped this build and I'm going to build it again. So it doesn't start downloading those APIs again, because I've already downloaded 1.9.31 earlier. Since pom.xml has got 1.9.18, it was trying to download 1.9.18 APIs. So before you compile it, stop the compilation and change pom.xml to 1.9.31, because that is the latest one. Maybe after 6 months it may become 1.9.35. So at that point use that. So whatever number you have taken first time, continue with that latest number, so that it doesn't need to re-download these files. So yesterday I was saying that it may need to download some files. It has already downloaded yesterday. Today I don't want to waste that time in downloading the API again. So this is again a debugging tip or step for every one of you. 1.9.8. Okay, so you want me to repeat which step? Ananya wants me to repeat the step. Okay, the step was, after you have made changes in your files, this is probably not documented, so you can write it somewhere. This is pom.xml, which is a Maven based file, because we have taken the archetype. And over here you will find in between this somewhere, earlier on 1.9.3, 1.9.18 was written. 1.9.18 was written. 1.9.31 is what you need to make it. And once you have done it, it's now running on local system. So localhost 8080 is what you will put in browser. Plus we have to put underscore AH/API Explorer. Okay. So if you get this error over here, load unsafe script option is there in browser. Click on this option, and greeting API is there. Under there, earlier morning we had created hi there. Now I got greet by period. One more API set up over here. Let's say Anjali, good morning. 2 strings I'm passing, and let's say click on execute without OAuth, and the response is okay, and the message is good morning Anjali. It's coming in the bottom of the screen. Okay, let me just resize this. Yeah, here. Good morning Anjali is coming. So this is what we had wanted it to show. And now that it is coming, I will deploy this on to Google App Engine. So stop, over here there is a stop button, this one, terminate. So please use this option to terminate. Okay. So use this option to terminate this job, and let's deploy this. Maven build update. Now you don't need to create a new project every time you want to put a new application. You can keep on using the same project ID and keep on uploading it on that project ID, so it gets overwritten. If you want, you can of course put in a new project ID. So I am currently just overwriting the previous one, and I'm going to I've got now two APIs created. One is just a simple one parameter API, and one is a two parameter API. So let it deploy. Once it deploys, then you can see something, good morning or good evening, whatever two messages, two parameter strings which you pass, is going to concatenate it and display. It's like a string concatenate function of Java, but only we are doing it through API right now. So think of it like Java application, strcat or something, some function is there, right? Anybody knows Java string concatenation function or something? So in Java, or even if you can, concatenate, So we are taking two strings and concatenating, but this we are passing to two endpoints, API endpoints, passing two values to that endpoint. It is concatenating it together and sending that response back, which we are displaying right now in browser. Later on, we will use an application to display that response. So step by step we will go. Currently we are looking at the wires of the engine, which is the way to enter the engine. One is through the API route. So we are just entering the engine through API route. There are more routes also. You can directly write to the app data store, but this is a way of going through the API. Why are we doing it through API? Because user can access data through different devices like mobile, laptop or tab, and the API can keep on serving the same data once it is created. So we are creating an API on Google App Engine right now. So it's almost done. So done, it's done. So I will go back to Chrome. This is my ID. .appspot.com /API Explorer. You understand that, right? Underscore API Explorer. So I've got greetings API which I created. Now I got two over here. Greet by periods. And this is now deployed on Google App Engine, the API. And I will say Sam, good evening. Execute without auth. And I get, oh, evening. I should have just said evening. Sorry. Evening. Because good is automatically concatenated. So it says good evening Sam. So it's just a concatenation which is happening of two strings, but we are doing it through API, application programming interface, which is through, you can see through API Explorer. So just plus or minus, yes, no. Did you understand this, what we are doing right now, API Explorer? What is this? happening over here? Plus or minus? Any questions? Because the next, I will slowly we are going ahead. So if this is clear, we can go ahead. So there are, okay, I think there are more participants right now than in the morning. And in the morning, I'd ask you to send me a mail, Gmail, on, yeah, right. So in the morning, I'd ask you to send me a mail on NIT Google GAE3 at NIT.com so that I can share with you some data files and I know your Gmail IDs. So people who have logged in late should send me a mail. Okay, so NIT Google App Engine 3 at NIT.com. So people who have come in late, please mark your attendance by sending me an email at this mail ID. Your attendance is being marked by the fact that you are sending me email using your Gmail ID. So if you, and in that mail mention your name and center. Okay. Oh, sorry, not NIT. Very sorry. Gmail.com. So NITGAE3 at gmail.com. You people who have joined in late, I can see some of you were not there in the morning session. I don't know. Whatever the reason, you have missed something. You have to take it on yourself to figure out what you have missed. But please do send me a mail on this ID to mark your afternoon attendance, because I'll know by time when you have sent me a mail. So you're present if you send me a mail today with your name and center. Otherwise, I can't figure out you're present or not. I can't figure out. So, okay. Great. So, we'll come back to my slide. Where is my slide? Okay. So, okay, this was a simple activity. An enhancement to the previous one. Where is it? Okay, so now going ahead to the next part of this session. Google API is a collection of APIs created by Google. This was API I have created. Now Google also is using the same kind of technology. I told you, Google has first time in its life opened its world to us, and we have to really take this opportunity to use that world. I mean, I know Mr. Modi had gone to US recently and visited Google Center, and he wanted next Google kind of thing happening in India, and even Google CEO had come recently to India, and he is an Indian, by the way. So if an Indian can become CEO of Google, think what we all can do. So it's a great thing that he's an Indian who is heading Google, and we must respect that Google is a company which has recognized his hard work and made him CEO. So over here we are doing a very little task of that. We are not becoming CEO of Google. We are just learning how to use Google technology and what all goes behind the scenes at Google to create products like Gmail, create products like Google Drive, and YouTube. What all goes behind the scenes to create a infrastructure or an application which scales up. So Google itself uses APIs to do all these tasks, and it allows users to communicate with Google services and their integration with other services. Some of the popular APIs are Gmail, Translate, URL Shortener, and Google Maps. I mean, itself, Google is using these APIs to fetch data from Google Data Store. So, and some of them require authentication and authorization to use. And we will use Google's API Explorer to find information about different Google APIs. So let's see how Google is doing it. So let's see what are these APIs. So let's look at this activity now. We are working as web developer at SoftFix. In one of your web page, you want to integrate Google's built-in Translate APIs so that you can dynamically translate text between thousands of language pairs. However, before integration, you have decided to test the API. Translation of the backend API should be based on the following guidelines. You should check how to say word friend in French. So anybody knows what is friend word in French? Can just type in without googling it right now. Do not use Google right now. Anybody knows what friend means in French? How do you say friend in French? A real problem. Somebody knows French, huh? Bonjour. Okay. I am impressed. But supposing others did not know, and we want to use Google service to do this. So, bonjour is not right answer, by the way. Google says Amni. Why does so? According to the Google translator, it's Ami. Bonjour may be something close, but this is the kind of translation which Google has done. Okay. Yeah, no, somebody is right. From Hyderabad, Ami is right. Somebody has said Ami. I don't know who it is, but yeah, Google agrees with you in the sense that Google also is giving the output as Ami. I think somebody is giving the right answer. Okay, great. So let's try this out. So how will we do it? Sukesh, okay, so this is Sukesh from Hyderabad, I think. Thanks, Sukesh. So let's go back to my computer. Computer. Okay, I have my computer. Okay, my computer, what is the instruction to follow? So we have done this part. We've done this part. Now we are at this stage. We are trying to find out friend in French, which is Ami, and what we'll do is we will use the translate feature of Google API. To do that, we will do this link https developers.google.com API-explorer. So developers.google /APIs-X. Right, and then #p. This is a link which is mentioned over here. https developers.google.com APIs Explorer #p. So this API Explorer appears. So let me find translate in this. So this is translate API over here. Click on this. So this detects languages, list of source target languages supported by API, and this third one is returns text translation from one language to another. So can you see the similarities over here and the API which we had created? That API which we had created was our own API. We were passing two parameters and first concatenating it. Here this is the API which Google has created to translate text from any language to any other language. Of course, they have done a better job. They are doing more processing. I was just concatenating it. So we can use this here and see. Friend is what is the text to translate. Language to translate is French, and it should be in a code. Right now I know the code for French is FR. We can find that out, and only two parameters are required which are red because they are must parameters. Rest of the parameters are optional. And I can click on execute button over here, and it does the translation, and I get ME. Wow. So that is interesting, right, guys? So can you now understand this Google API? Simple API? Yes, no, plus, minus? Great. So I have 28% saying yes, and somebody said no also. So what is the question? Who has said no? Somebody said no. Okay, so I have just now gone back, and there is a language list. So if I execute it, it shows me the codes of different languages which it is using. So these are all small codes of different languages in which Google can translate. Okay, we will do one more. We will do one more of such simple exercise. Okay, we will come back to my slide. Okay. So this one is using URL shortener. You're working. It's not syncing right now. It is not syncing. Yeah, it's synced now. You are working as web developer at Technosoft. Your current project, you need to display short URL names for the long URLs in order to easily share them. You know, sometimes there are very long URLs and there are some short URLs which can be used. So we will try to use that URL shortener feature of Google. So let's assume that there is some other URL of Yahoo or any URL, and we want to generate a smaller URL for it. So there is a feature in Google which is called as URL shortener. What happens is that when you give that long URL, for example, this is a long URL, login yahoo.com, some login, some verify something, and it has created a small GOGL / some number is there. That's a short URL. So this is the kind of output we expect to get from this API. Okay, so let's see. Uh, so there is a URL shortener URL. You can see over here there is oh, you cannot see, sorry, you cannot see right now. Okay, what I did was I searched for URL shortener and there is this API called URL shortener. So it's on the screen, you can see it has got get, insert and list. Get is expand a short URL or get creation time and analytics. Then it has got create a new short URL, retrieve a list of URL shortened by a user. So first of all, let's see what are the steps we have to do in the URL shortener exercise. So this is the exercise which we need to perform on URL shortener. So it says open the API Explorer, search for URL shortener. We have done that and we have found the URL shortener. Next, let's say insert. In this, we are inserting a URL. So we are saying this is a long URL. So we click on this brackets over here, add a property and long URL. So this is what will appear. I select long URL and enter the long URL. So first of all, I need to have a long URL. I should have some. Okay, let me find some URL which is really long. Okay, this is some URL which is pretty long. It's got some real long list. It's a very, you can't remember this URL. It's very long. Okay, so I picked this long URL. I could have taken any other URL, but I'm just taking any long URL and I've added it over here. This is not taken it. Maybe there is some limitation. This is not taken it. No, it has taken it, right? Oh, it's taken it, sorry. It was just that I was worried it may not have taken it. Okay, so now I've added that long URL. Oops, just forget. Click on execute button. I can do it authorize. I think I'll do authorize and execute so that it saves it in my account. So it has just now taken this long URL and replaced it with a short URL like this. You can see this small URL in double quotes. I will try to show it in Notepad. This small URL which is created. Can I increase this font? Okay, so this is a short URL and this was the long URL. So this is a long URL and this is a short URL of that particular URL. So if I just use this URL in my browser, this will also redirect to the same page. So I have inserted a long URL and I've got a short URL stored on Google. So I have some other functions like get or list, so I can click on list, execute. So in this also it's executing over here. I've got total one item over here, and here I've got short URL as this and long URL as this. Status OK. So I'm just basically storing a URL which is a long in a short form. Short URL, long URL is stored in Google. So if somebody types in a URL like google/TYVNMW, it will automatically translate it into this long URL. So this is the function of this API. That's all it does. And this has been created by Google. This example is clear? Yes, no? Please click yes, no, minus. If it is a minus, please type in your question. Otherwise, we can proceed ahead. 25%, 30%. Others have also to vote, not only just watch. Everybody should vote. Please vote now. This is interesting stuff. We are opening Google Engine and seeing it working from inside. So you can just click on plus to show your appreciation. Why is it only 40%? Why others are not voting? I would have wanted to go to 80-90%. Or does it only go to 40%? Come on. I think others should also vote. Okay. Surprised? Okay. So you don't appreciate Google's effort of showing you API. And then you don't vote. Okay. So this is what happens over here also, that if I click on the short URL, the page is displayed. So let me just stop this for a minute and go back to my slide. Okay, so this is end of this summary of this discussion points. So Google Endpoints are a tool to develop Google that creates public APIs for API applications. Endpoints help you to create a web backend for web clients and mobile clients such as Android and Apple. Endpoints provide a simple way to develop a shared web backend. Endpoints provide critical infrastructure such as OAuth2 authentication. Client libraries generated by endpoints allow to make direct API calls. Google Endpoint API libraries are available in Java, Python, Go, and PHP. Google Endpoint API is built on Google API infrastructure, and Google API is a collection of API created by Google. We just saw that. So we are done with session number 5. Session 6 is a lab, so there is no prize for that. But I think there is some portion of this chapter which we'll cover here over here in this session 7. So till now what we have done is we created an API, backend API. Now we will create a front end to it and call the Google API. Okay, we'll call those APIs. We'll also call Google endpoints, identify fundamentals of access control, configure apps authentication, integrate Google user account, GAE Java applications, and use OAuth to access Google APIs. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to add following script in HTML page that contains Google hosted client library. So we will need to do this, add the script tag with apis.google.com js client.js onload equal to init. This has to be put in on HTML page that will be hosted on Google to call the client library. This is the enabling function or the code. Then we load the endpoint inside the callback function using the following code. So there is an init function where we define the root path of that particular API, and we call gapi.client.load, the name of the function, and then we can use that function or whatever it's returning and display it message or whatever we want to do with that value which is getting returned, and that's the function which we end over here. So I will show you this practically, then you will see what I'm talking about. And once the JavaScript client is enabled, you need to call endpoint using Google JavaScript client object name gapi.client. The following code illustrates how to call an endpoint method. gapi.client.greeting, hi there, the name, and execute say hello callback. So this is passing one parameter, one name parameter to hi there API, and it will execute a function say hello callback. This function is a callback function. So whenever somebody calls or uses that API, this function will be invoked. Say hello callback. So what we are doing right now is we are making a front end which will talk to the backend. Right now we are just seeing how the backend works. This is backend API which is created. Now we are creating a web application. After creating the backend APIs, management has asked you to build a web client so that you can use APIs provided by the backend. Creating a web client should be based on following guidelines. So first of all, create a simple HTML page that provides client UI to access the backend. So we'll create a front end, and front end will talk to the backend API. Create the JavaScript that is invoked by the client UI and does the actual work of accessing the backend. So we'll create a script which will call the backend. Then we'll deploy the client API and API backend to production app engine. So of course the backend has to be deployed, and then when the backend is deployed and the client is deployed, we will see how the client and the server interact. Right now we have just created backend on the server, the API. Now we will create a client using HTML and JavaScript and make that HTML and JavaScript call these APIs, the hi there API. Is the question clear to everybody? First of all, question has to be clear. Then I will show you what we are going to do. So the question continues. The web page should display client user interface as shown in the following figure after deploying it on the local development server or Google App Engine. So my first endpoint app is the title. Name, there's a text box, there's a button over there, casual greeting, then there's a time period, morning, and formal greeting. So you remember there were two functions we had made, good morning, good evening. One was that function and one was just hi Peter. We were doing it through the interface provided by Google, that is backend API. We are now going to create a front-end API, front-end HTML form, which is going to call this backend APIs. Okay, so this is what is the next demo. So I'll start with this next demo, which is number 4.5. So this is 4.5 demo. Okay, so it's first of all creating a new project. Okay, but I'm not going to create a new project for this. I'm going to use the existing project ID and save it. So copy the project ID value and save it for later use. So coming to my server. So I'll assume that I've already created a project for this on Google App Engine. Okay. Oh, please watch this demo carefully. Please watch this demo carefully because there is an additional step which is happening over here. Okay. So I'm just deleting one of the projects which I'm no longer using. But it will take some time to delete it. Probably it takes 2-3 days to delete it. It will delete it after 1/26/16. It will take a week to delete it. So anyways, I was using Hello Maven, right? Okay, so I have assumed that I have just now created this this project. I have deployed it on Hello Maven 1194. So this is my Hello Maven 1194 control panel. Hello Maven is the project which I have created. Now in this I also have to go and create a client ID. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to go over here. Go over here means what? One second. Okay. Okay. So you can see this product and services. Here, go here and pin on this API Manager, App Engine, Home. So do pin in all this so that you can get these on the Home tab. But right now, what I need you to do is when you're doing this exercise, you go to API Manager, and in this you have to go to Credentials option, and in this New Credentials you have to go to OAuth Client ID. These steps are slightly different than what is given in the book because the interface has changed recently. But then once you come over here, it will be same. OAuth Client ID. This authentication is nothing but it's checking whether your application is authorized to use that particular API or not. So it will give us a key which we will put in the application. That key will be matched when the request is sent. So if the key matches, then the API will be allowed to work, otherwise that API will not work. It's like locking that API with a lock. So it's not that everybody can access that particular API. Your application will only be able to access that API. So we are creating a small key. Now we are really going into depth of App Engine. We are looking at the key. OAuth Client ID. It will say over here, to create OAuth Client ID, you must first set a product name on the consent screen. So click on Configure Consent Screen. Over here, give any name like front-end client. It can be anything. Then other options are optional. You can give something or you can ignore it. This is what will be displayed as a pop-up, whether just like you get a pop-up, should I allow it or not to execute. So this kind of authorization will come. Click on Save. Then click on this web application option. Because we are creating this web application, you need to create this web client 1. In authorized JavaScript origins, give https://hello maven -194.appspot.com. Just give https, the ID, client ID, and the appspot.com. Then here you give local. One second, just 1 second. Okay, so local host colon 8080. Okay, and also in the authorized redirect, give https colon slash slash hello maven. This ID will of course change based upon your app ID slash OAuth to fallback. And here AT80 come back. Over here we are defining the URLs which are going to be allowed to use the APIs, and this will be authorized JavaScript origin, meaning for users with requests from a browser, this is the origin URL for the client application. It cannot contain wildcard or a path. And authorized redirect URLs for users used with requests from a web server. This is a path in your application that users are redirected to after they have authenticated with Google. The path will be appended with the authorization code for access, must have a protocol, cannot contain URL fragment or relative paths, cannot be a public IP address. So if you do all this, creating a client ID, I'm showing you how to create a client ID, a very important step. You click on create and a dialog box will appear like this. This is your client ID. Here is your client ID, OAuth client ID. So you pick this up, this complete string you need to copy. This is your client ID. You take this and in constants.java and constants.java web client ID, there is a text, replace this with your web client ID. So you delete this and in double quotes you paste the string which you have got from Google. This is web client ID. Okay, everybody should be very clear. I have just now created a client ID and I put it in constants.java. This is required for authorization that your client, web client, is authorized to use that API. So this is related to the OAuth protocol. Click on OK over here. So this web client 1 has got created and this is the client ID. Okay, this is clear? Yes, no? Questions? To use a client, I have created a client ID. Client is my web browser, where there will be a dialog box which will be going and asking for some service with the API. So I have given this client ID over here. Okay, now next what is the step? So click new client ID button. Is nothing but web client app, web application, remember, and we use this, we got something like this. question is, what is the need of this client ID? This client ID is the ID which will allow you to access your application to access the API. So the API is loaded onto a project in the back end, and there is a front end which is also there. So front end will also have the same key and back end will also have the same key. That is the benefit of this. Localhost is given. Okay, why localhost is given? Because we will be also testing this API locally first before deploying. So that is why localhost is given. Yeah, without this, using the web interface, you can access it. Your API which you have created using /_ explorer and all, you can access it. But your web client, the browser, the HTML file, the form which you'll create, that form will not be able to access your backend API without this client ID. That is the thing. Okay. I'm just using my own copy because my browser seems to be stuck. But we have reached to this point. 4.5. So yeah, over here there was this client ID, creation of client ID, which we have seen. So you put in https yourappid.aspot.com and http localhost:8080, and also in the others part which is there, you put in the callback also if you want. So copy the client ID and paste it. So in constants.java, it's asking us to paste that client ID, which I have done. Also asking me to put in following line before email scope. Let me see if it's already there or not. Public static final API Explorer client ID is equal to API Explorer client ID. This line is not there. So there is an email scope. Before that, it's asking me to put public static final string. So we do this step number 9 and then save this constant.java. Okay, then it says go to your first API dot Java and replace. That is already done. We have already done this. Greeting V1, hi there, HTTP. All this is done already. We had done it, so because I'm using the same project, so all this is already done. So I don't need to do these steps again. So hi there, HTTP get, all that is already done. Save your project. So this much is already done in this file. Save. This is done. No need to do this again. So there is some repetition of steps over here, which is nothing but it's asking us to see. I cannot share activity-wise PDF. There's already a complete lab-wide PDF which is there with you, which is nothing but the same thing. So you can use that. It's nothing new. Okay, now we are at the point of creating a web client. So it says go to web client. We need to perform the following activity, which is web.app. Web.app. Here, you go here. Web.app and right click and create index.file. So new HTML file index. I will not take too much time in creating that form, because that form. So this is my normal HTML form. So I'm just replacing the text over here with the form. So otherwise it will take me half an hour to type in, and we don't have that much luxury of time. So I've just taken up this. There is a Google API JavaScript client library which you can see over here, which will call the init function, which is defined in greet.js. So this script tag has to be put in this HTML. Following this, there is a div tag which is defining a input name and time period option, and that's the end of my index file. So in that I've created all this index form. Save this. Now I have to create greet.js files. So I'll just save this, and I have also got to create a greet.js file in web app folder here. New. So I'll just create a text file and rename it. Sorry. New file. File name is greet.js. Finish. So this is a JavaScript file, and its content have to be like this. So it has to have a init function which will be loading the callback function, or it will be loading the API. So when load callback function is called, it will call a function called enable buttons. So this enable function, what it is doing is, it is going to get the value of the button and change it to casual greeting and formal greeting. The title of the button will change because of this enable button function. And casual greeting, it will also call the name field. When you click on that submit button, like casual greeting button, this function will get called casual greeting. So we are passing the name of the function on click. So when on click happens, that means when I click on the button, on click event is defined as casual greeting function. So when I click on the form casual greeting button, this casual greeting button function will be called, where it will say Cappy client greeting, hi there, and name. So it is going to give it's going to call that particular API with that parameter name, and it is going to call a function called hello callback. Now hello callback is nothing but giving a response.message. It's just going to give a pop-up hello. It's an alert function. So it's a kind of complex way of defining this JavaScript. What it is doing is a callback function. When I click on the button, when the button is clicked, casual greeting is called. When casual greeting function gets executed, it passes it, and calls the API with the name, whatever it picks up from the form, the name, and passes it to the API, and then it calls the say hello callback function. And say hello callback function is nothing but saying hi Peter or hi whatever the name has been entered. Then the next function is formal greeting. In this, when I click on the formal greeting button over here, there's a button where on click has been defined, formal greeting. So name, time period will be picked up from the fields on the form, and the request will be sent to the second API where hello or good morning and the name of the person is there. So, and then it says hello callback. So again this function will get called and a dialog box will appear. So this is a JavaScript, which is a callback JavaScript, and this is the index file which is the form. So when the form is there and we click on a button, a function is defined. That function will call the API. That API will do the concatenation, or it will give some string back, return some value back, and that value is displayed in a pop-up. So Ananya is asking the flow from HTML page. So okay, just give me a minute. Let me just deploy this or run this, and I'll show you how it works. And then we'll look at this function again. Okay, so next is all these functions have been added in this JavaScript. Next we do is test the web client on a local development server. So dev server see, the flow will be something like this. It's just deploying, it will take some time. So there is this form which you are seeing on your screen. There is a button called casual greeting and a formal greeting. So when I click on click of casual greeting, it will run this function and run the API. It's called the API. The API will send back some message, and that message will be put in an alert box and displayed over here. So let me just run this now on the local server. So it has finished deploying. So it says Peter morning and hold on is coming. Now this hold on is actually trying to initialize the API. Once that happens, this hold on will change to casual greeting and formal greeting. That APIs have to be initialized. That init function probably is not working correctly, otherwise this hold on should change. Currently this is not working. Maybe it requires some time. So, oh, hang on. My greet.js is blank over here. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't paste it. How stupid of me. See, I was explaining you that function, but I didn't paste that greet.js over here. Oh, very stupid mistake. See, all functions are defined, but they have to be part of the application. In greet.js, all these functions were missing. Okay, so I will just stop this, close this. So now I will just save this greet.js. It has got these functions defined. It has got a function called init. It has got a function called load callback. It has got a function called enable buttons. This enable button function, what it does is, it'll change the value of button from currently it's saying hold on to casual greeting or formal greeting. When this button gets enabled, that means it has been able to load this callback function, and it is also defining two functions called casual greeting and formal greeting. So these enable button is doing nothing but defining which function to call when you click on the OK button or on these buttons. Okay, when I click on casual greeting, this function will be called. When I click on formal greeting, this function will be called, and at the end of it, they will in turn call the API, and at the end there will be a dialog box which will be displayed. So let me just deploy this again. Run as I had made a mistake. I had not pasted the code in the function. I just explained. While explaining, I was just using Notepad. So that is why the function were not there in its place. So now I will run this localhost 8080. Hopefully it should execute. It may take a bit while to execute. So the form has come. The greet.js has got the callback functions defined. Let me check whether my APIs are getting created or not. And they're working or not. This could be the reason, because of unsafe scripts. Maybe it's not running it. This one is working fine. This is also working fine. So let me just do one thing. I will deploy it on Google App Engine and see once. So there's some hiccup in my demo that is not working on the local. Let me check on the App Engine server whether we are able to see this form and whether it's going to show me the required output. This is the client. This client is interacting with the backend API, which is working fine, and then it is going to display me the message using when I click on these two buttons on the form. So I'm waiting for it to deploy. So you see this form which is there. This is currently on localhost. It has to be working, but some issue is there. I think maybe I have missed a step. It could be any reason. It could be any reason like you are also facing some problems. But let me figure out. So I have got it deployed almost now. Okay, over here, remember to give HTTPS, not just HTTP. Then followed by the name of the project where you have uploaded this. Where have I uploaded it? This is Hello Maven, but what is Hello Maven? My ID is Hello Maven 1194. appspot.com. Okay, great. So I can see that hold on has changed from hold on, casual greeting and formal greeting. So I click on casual greeting. It will send a message to the server. Server will do some processing, send back some string which will be displayed in an alert box. Finally, that message is displayed on screen saying, "Hi Peter." Great. And some over here, morning, formal greeting. This morning and name Peter is picked up from the form, concatenated and sent back as "Good morning Peter" string by the API, and say okay, maybe even night. So again I say formal greeting, and it will say "Good night Peter." Yeah, it's "Good night Peter." So we just now saw a front end. This is a front end application, HTML with JavaScript, talking to my backend API, which is greeted by a name and greeted by your period. Two APIs are there. So this API is actually calling the backend API, and since it already has a client ID, remember to put in a client ID. So since it has a client ID, this client is allowed to work with those API. And you can also, in fact, sitting in across your studios, can type in this URL. This is the URL which we have just now created. Hello Maven-1194.appspot.com, and see the working. So let me know by response you are able to see this form. on your browser. Click plus or minus, saying yes or no. Just wait for some time when there is hold on there, so that it initializing the callback function. So we just saw how to use the front end to talk to the backend client API. Next onwards, I mean tomorrow, I don't think today, most probably tomorrow, what we'll do is, remember, you must reach till this point for us to have a meaningful dialogue tomorrow, that this data which is coming right now, we are sending to an API. Tomorrow from API, we'll put that data into a database or a data store. And from data store, we will pick it up and then display it on a web browser. So the complete connection will be visible to you then, that how the APIs are interacting with the front-end client, and you are able to put in the value in a form, and through the API it is going to the data store. Tomorrow we will do that. So this is a new concept of using APIs to write into the database or data store. Till now we have been used to a lot of SQL, but now we will be also understanding how on the web Google is doing it. That is a real deep dive into databases tomorrow. So for that to be meaningful, either your hello world and APIs should work. So today, for people who have not been able to do it, I would want you to spend some time and make sure that you are able to run these small activities as given in the lab guide. You already have it. Also, please check and let me know whether you are able to reach to this drive or not. There is this data files for faculty. Right now I'm at chapter 4, activities, and this was activity number 5, and this was a task file I was using, read.js and index.html. You can download these files from here, or you can download the solution from here. Activity 5, you can right click and say download. So it will zip it and it will download it. So zipping 4 files. Do it activity by activity, otherwise it will become too much. And now you can see it's getting downloaded. Activity 3 and 4 didn't have any data files. In fact, even if you go to activity 5 inside, you can pick up only the input, my endpoint, or the solution, or the task file. This solution is the pre-built solution. That means, supposing everything goes wrong. Suppose you get very hassled, you miss a lot of steps. So what you need to do is just download the solution, import it into your Eclipse, and run it to see how it actually works, because the steps have been already performed in that. However, in the solution you will need to change the web ID and the app ID, client ID and the project ID. One is created right at the beginning, and the second is the client ID, which I told you today. Yesterday I showed you how to create an ID. Today I showed you how to create an ID. So both these IDs should be present in the HTML documents or the project which you are doing as per your Google email ID, or as per the project on which you are trying to upload. So, okay, a small poll. Are you able to access this folder, activity 5, for example? People who have not sent me a Gmail in the morning would not be able to do it. In the afternoon, I sent you a mail with a link which had this link to this data file. So please check whether you are able to access those files, because these have got code which is already there as part of the lab aid, but if you want to directly pick it up from here, it also has the code available which you should be able to access. I see some 6 mails. What is 6 mails? I don't see. Okay, these are 5 mails. Okay, so I can see more people than who are there in the morning. Anybody who is there and still not able to access these files, please send me a Gmail right now. Otherwise, we'll miss it. It's almost 3:10 now. We have 20 minutes for this session. Then this facility is not available to me. Tomorrow till 5:30, I'm trying to book this and use this facility. And it will work only. We'll do this only if everybody has reached to this point. This is activity 4.5. Till activity 4.5, if everybody reaches, tomorrow will be meaningful. Otherwise, we'll just keep on going ahead without people being able to practice. Okay, so let's come back to this. Okay, so there are a lot of people, but I'm not getting mails from people who are there, but not. My mail ID, you don't know, Gmail ID is NITGAE3 for this training only. Otherwise, lokeshbhog@gmail.com. But for this training, it's NITGAE3 at gmail.com. Okay, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 people from NS3 are there, and 2 people told me that they have done already something on Google App Engine. Please help those who have not been able to do it, so that I can see more people who are versed with this technology. I can see a lot of centers like Borivali, Ghatkopar. You guys need to Bandra. So Bombay, Calcutta, please join in the gang of Delhi and Chennai. Delhi and Chennai are doing well. They have managed to overcome initial problems. Rest of the regions need to look up and figure out ways of being able to implement this. Initially, you have to get your hands dirty. As I said today, after 6 p.m. or 7, around 6:30, I'll come back to Adobe Online and try to help you out. Whoever is here, I'll just, this is, okay, no, 3:30, we leave, no, from here, 4:35. Yeah, let me put it like 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock onwards, I would try to be online and try to help you out with whatever way I can till 8 o'clock at least. So you guys also plan like that, so that you are also trying it out. I get a lot of messages, my Eclipse is not working, my Eclipse is stuck, I'm not able to upload. But Eclipse, I mean, I didn't really find that difficult over here. Ensure that your hard disk has enough free space. One of the problems which I faced yesterday was my hard disk was full. System hard disk was full, so it was not having space. Similarly, your settings should be fine for you to be able to execute Eclipse. Okay. So we've covered quite a lot about Google App Engine, starting from yesterday, where we were just talking on surface. We started to look at the wires now. Tomorrow is a big day where we're talking about database. So there are slight different concepts of database in Google App Engine. So be attentive for that. We'll start looking at how to insert a record, update a record, delete a record, and so normal thing like you do in MySQL. When running localhost 888, I think it's 8888. It is 3 times you have to put 8. You have to put 4 times 8. You're getting an error, but it has to obviously be error because localhost 888 is there. If that is for the first exercise, localhost 8888, 4 times 8. Okay, you put 888. And this is for the first exercise, must be. So what is the error you're getting? For not found. Your Jetty should be running for Pan Bazaar Center, and when you've finished deploying, you should say Jetty is running at port localhost 8888. That message comes on the Eclipse. If it is not running, you'll get 404. You have to run it as a web application. There's an option which is there. Just show Pan Bazaar. So let me just keep this remaining 10-15 minutes for question answers. So some kind of questions you are having in your mind. So just can you please type in your questions? Please type in your questions. Okay. See, what I was talking about is hello world. This application, when you say right click, run as web application, so it should say something like this: module instance default is running as 25. I'll stop. Exactly 25. HTTP localhost 8888. So this kind of message should come Pan Bazaar. Then only this deployment will happen. So yeah, once you're just getting this, then you go here and paste it. It will come. Do one thing. Maybe just go to settings and check your proxy. Maybe you are having some issue with your proxy settings, LAN settings. Just disable your proxy or something. Maybe it's trying to go to the proxy server or something. I don't know. Could be some setting which is there in your system. Otherwise, localhost 8088 should work. It has not support for Java 8. It has not support for Java 8 app showing error when deploying. So some ways Eclipse is taking an issue. Boribili, can you put Java 1.7 instead, if possible? Because I have to try it with Java 8. I have not debugged with Java 8. You may be having some issues with Java 8. Can you for now try with Java 7, 1.7, 1.7.70 or something? Please try with that. Eclipse is taking long time to authenticate. At which step? Some question was there. Eclipse is taking long time to authenticate. At what step is taking too long? For now, just stay with Java 1.7, people, because I don't know what problems you are having in 1.8. As per Google, they are saying that you can use 1.8, but with backward compatibility to 1.7. It's there on the site. In pom.xml you have to mention that. But yeah, see, JDK 8 is not supported, but I'll show you that message, which we have also tried it. JDK 8 works with Maven based application at least. Java 8 Google App Engine. Yeah. So I will only follow what Google gives over here. So it says we recommend you use Java 7 Enterprise Edition. However, if you have Java 8, you must specify Java 7 as a source and target. That is in the pom.xml. In Maven based application, this is the second type of application. Maybe for the first application it may be giving issue, but for second application, for pom.xml, with this configuration, if you give, then your application can be deployed and run on production app engine. So in Maven based application, you'll be running, so you're mixing some, even with the application compiled. So they are recommending using Java SDK, but it just says that if you have it, you can use it. So that's what it means. What says deploying on Google Engine after running on localhost? Okay, you're saying Eclipse is taking a long time after deploying on Google Engine after running on localhost. So it must be downloading some applications. Ananya in Jayanagar, be patient. Check your system. Maybe it's saying downloading. It's downloading some APIs or something. So just be patient. It may be downloading something. If it is a Maven-based application, it may be downloading some applications. So I have exactly 2 more minutes. Any more questions? Quickly type in. 2 minutes I have. After that, I will have to take some. After that, you send me a mail or chat and with all your questions. And don't leave it at sir will come and help you out with your setup. You have to struggle. And yesterday I asked you, you're okay with dirtying your hands. So dirty your hands. Change Java 8 to Java 7. Change your network settings, change your browser settings, but get it working. Eclipse will work and download. For the first application, maybe it's downloading something. For first application also, first time it may be downloading. Maybe. But it should not take too long. See, I'll try to start the session by 8:30 only. Try to be there. I was here in the studio 8:30, but there were only 6 people online, so I didn't come till 9. So try to be here 8:30 tomorrow, so that we can start. And there's a lot of things on databases I would want to cover tomorrow. So and send me your mails through Gmail to my nitgae3@gmail.com. Thank you very much for your patience and listening. And now, dirty your hands. Go and get inside the engine and put your hands there. If you don't fail, you will not learn. So when a person is a mechanic, it actually goes under the hood of the car and gets his all clothes dirty. So today is a long day for you. Get your hands dirty with Eclipse and Google App Engine and play with it, and at least reach till Google API. That is your task for today. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you. I can see if at least 5 people are working on it. Rest of you will also come online. I'm very sure of it. Tomorrow I want to see more hands saying yes, you are able to do it. So my all the best to you for your failures or success. But I want you to succeed definitely, and try your best. See you tomorrow, and I will try to be online after 1 or 2 hours. I'll be online till probably 10 o'clock when I sleep. Thank you.